You have to have tenacity. If you win, you need to have the tenacity to go and do it again and not be afraid of losing. And if you're losing, you have to have the tenacity to keep doing it until you win.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. Your brand is designed to set you apart and set you up for success by positioning you to attract ideal prospects. But once that happens, what do you do with those prospects? How can you be sure you're converting them into customers and on a regular basis? Well, our guest today is Dale Archdekin. He is a lead conversion expert. Now, get this story. He's even taken a stranger off the streets with no real estate experience and put them through the training and systems that he created and helped them produce 60 transactions in the first 12 months. That's pretty powerful.
That is powerful.
Yeah. So today he's sharing his story and how he became known in his space.
Dale, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's awesome. I'm famous. I'm the one on camera now here with you guys. That's amazing. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yes, you are famous. And we're going to dig into exactly how and why you got famous, Dale.
That's it.
When you say the 60 transactions, just specifically for listeners, that's ISAs, right? So yes, you could do 60 transactions in your first year as a solo real estate agent. I've had clients that have done that. But when you read that, it's specifically when I've built and run ISA departments, being able to take somebody off the street, combine them with our training, and obviously the lead sources that from the company, and they could produce 60 transactions in their first 12 months.
That's still fantastic.
Part of your secret sauce.
Part of secret sauce. And being in the real estate business forever and dealing with a lot of agents all over the country, I know what that means. So let's dig into that a little bit. You know, personal branding is so much about the why. So we like to get to know our guests just a little bit better, including like what brought you to what you're doing today. What's a little bit of the backstory?
Sure. I can tell you how I was created. Well, I started selling real estate. You know, I got into the business. I thought it was easy, but looking at other people doing it, I thought, you know what? I can sell real estate part-time. I'll make a ton of money. I can spend the rest of my time just running around investing in real estate, right? Buying buildings and stuff. And that's about how intelligent I was when I made my decisions. Once I got into the business, I was like, holy shit, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And I have to be doing this full time plus in order to make a living at it or to get something started. So I started grinding. I'm a cold call cowboy. I was prospecting FSBOs, expireds, circle prospecting. I was doing the cold calling. And that's how I got into it because I was used to doing that when I had come from mortgages. So I just started grinding. But the issue is for anybody who's grinded like that for several years, you know that you start to get burned out. And at that time, I was one of the top FSBO expired listing agents in my market. And another guy in my office came to me at a small team. He had like 5 agents and they were doing about 100 transactions. And he said, hey, I just bought this amazing new website. It's literally like dumping leads out on the floor, but my agents are lazy and they're cherry picking it. Will you come and work these and make more, we can both make lots of gold out of this straw. And I said, hey, I'm honored that you would think of me, man. But listen, I'm starting to get burned out. I've heard of this crazy idea called ISAs. Let's figure out how to teach other people to do this. We'll let them grind that straw into gold. And he said, yes, that's a great idea. So we got together and we proceeded to waste a lot of money and screw it up trying to figure out how to run an ISA department until I went and learned from some other people around the country who were effectively doing it, brought it back home, perfected it, and then built an internal ISA department for that team that could take somebody and make ISAs that could produce 50 to 60 transactions in their first 12 months. So that's how we got here. And then, I left that business, I left that company, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go teach other people how to do this. So 6 years ago, when I started my coaching and training company, that's what we did. I said, hey, here's the magic. Here's the process. Here's the secret sauce. Implement this into your company and it's going to work for you too.
That's great. That's super good.
Yeah, I can definitely identify with the wasting money and making all kinds of mistakes in the beginning. Because isn't that what we all do, really?
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially the pioneers in the arena.
Well, you know what
it's
Grandpa
tough.
always said? My grandpa always said, everybody pays to go to school, right? You either pay to make the mistakes and you spend all that money and make those mistakes until you figure it out, or you go and hire you a Dale Archdekin and you pay him to teach you what his experience has taught him. And it blows my mind. It blows Tanya's mind all the time. We deal with people, and we tell them that same thing all the time. Look, Dale's already spent the money and the time. Now we can save you the time. Pay Dale.
Yeah, I've
right?
taken the beatings. I've taken the punches to the face and spent the money. And so I will gladly give that to you in exchange for your money.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a better way to do it. You know what I mean? Hey, was there any specific event or person in your life that shaped, you think, who you are? Like, there's not many people who say, hey, I'm a cold calling cowboy. Most people, including myself, would be like, I run from it like I'm on fire. So was there a certain event or person in your life you think that molded you towards that direction?
Oh man, I don't even know. There's this weird thing that happened when I was in, I went to art school for college, but when I was in high school, so I started working at like 13. I like money. I've always wanted money and I was going to go out and get some money. Right. So I started working at 13, mowing lawns and stuff like that. In high school, I had a part-time job working at a call center where we were cold calling and selling credit card insurance. This is a long ass time ago. And even back then, credit card insurance was pretty much a bogus thing. I didn't know that. But as a high school kid, I got this dead end job, cold calling people, selling credit card insurance. How did I know that 20 years into the future, somehow I would be using that? And if I knew when it was like, oh, how am I going to get money? How am I going to find people that need a service that I can sell them? I'm like, I'm just going to call them. Okay, I'm going to call strangers because that's what I've done before. And I don't know, man. It's just like one of those weird karma, divine intervention kind of things where it was like, I need the money. I'm going to go get the money. The fastest way to get in touch with people with money is to pick up the phone. That's what I did.
Necessity is the mother of all action and invention, right?
That's so true. That's it. And Dale, we have a little bit in common here because talk about going on the grind. For the first 3 years out of high school, I sold vacuum cleaners door to door to pay my way through college. That's why we asked this question. Was there some sort of event in your life that kind of led you to where you are today? Because for me, that's where I really learned that I had to have a story to tell. I had to position myself properly to be able to get into someone's house. And when I crafted that story, I realized, holy cow, you can do this anywhere, right? You can do this in any industry. Then I went into the radio world. I got discovered selling vacuum cleaners by somebody in radio and went into the radio world and realized, oh gosh, these are bigger players. I'm getting heavier doors slammed in my face and they're harsher critics and prospects. So I had to come up with the story again, right? So that's really where our stories come from, is our past experiences. And I love the fact that you shared that and you're so open and honest about it. There's no other way to be about it because it was all painful.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a painful journey. But again, I'm also really arrogant. And I think that I can if I say I'm going to do it or that I can do it, I'm just going to keep beating my head against it until the wall falls down.
Yes.
I'm one of those kind of people. So, what's funny is I bartended through college because I did get smart enough at one point. And I was like, wait a minute. So I can just hang out behind the bar and you people will throw money at me if I give you alcohol. So I was like, wow, this is great. So I bartended through college, but that's exhausting. And so then I was like, I tried working in the regular world. So I went to college. I was like, no more of this bartending stuff. I'm going to go get a real job. And I get that first real job. And they were like, hey, so here's your job. You're only going to be earning half of what you were earning as a bartender, but we want you here 5 days a week for 40 hours instead of working 3 nights a week, for 15 hours. And I was like, how does that math work? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I was on the hunt for how do I make more money with less time, right? And that's what brought me to real estate. And of course, I wasn't all that bright. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can look at all these people making so much money. I'm going to make a ton of money in very little time. Sign me up. Let's do it. Then discovered how much incredible time and effort and work it takes in the real estate business to make a lot of money in a little bit of time.
That's so true. I tell all my agents, it's the highest paying hard work you'll ever do, and it's the lowest paying easy work you'll ever do. So choose your path. You know, being a realtor is a great job if you don't need to make any money. I mean, you just tell everybody you're a realtor, kick your feet up, and turn on another TV show, right? You're just going to starve to death doing it.
Yeah.
So,
True.
hey, do you have what about a mentor? Would you say that there's been a specific mentor in your life? And if so, what is the best advice they ever gave you?
Man, you know what? It's hard to say. I've never had one exact mentor, but here's what I have done is I've always, whenever I hit a growth point in my life or a struggle or something that I need, I go and find somebody who has what I need or knows what I need. And so it's hard to say that or to pick one out because there's been so many. Like, when I said cold call cowboy, I actually took that from a guy who's the first person I bought sales training from, which was just like a collection of MP3s on how to do cold call prospecting. I don't remember the guy's name anymore. And I spent maybe $150 on it. And I was like nervous about my investment. And it was just a recording of MP3s, right? Like audio recordings.
Right.
I listened to. And that's one of the things he said. He said, hey, if you follow this path, people in your office are going to call you. They're going to insult you. They're going to call you a cold call cowboy, whatever. He goes, don't worry about them. You're going to make a lot of money. Just do this. And I just listened and did what he said. And so I don't even remember that guy's name, but you can hear that coming out in me today. So that was one of my mentors, right? When I first started doing sales or back to professionally doing sales, some guy's coaching whose name I don't remember, and I bought it and it's still coming through today. So there's been so many people and so many influences like that. It's hard to distill it down to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And, my mentor, one of my early mentors was the sales manager at the vacuum cleaner branch. And he taught me things like when people say no to you, what they're really saying is they don't know enough.
I love that one.
And then he also taught me the best time to sell something is when you've just sold something.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so,
I like that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
well, you got that adrenaline rolling. I got a yes. Go get some more yeses.
Exactly. So come back to that for a second, Dale. What would you say is the number one trait you feel that anybody in sales must have in order to be successful?
I would say tenacity. You have to have tenacity. If you win, you need to have the tenacity to go and do it again and not be afraid of losing. And if you're losing, you have to have the tenacity to keep doing it until you win.
That's great. That's really
Great
good.
advice.
Great takeaway right there for the listeners. Can you twist that a little bit more? What advice would you give to people about sales conversion? Because when you talk about leads and conversions, man, you're talking my language right here. Nothing drives me more insane when a lead comes in and says, I want to list and sell my property. And then an agent comes back, well, like, I didn't get the listing. I'm like, what? They told you what they wanted when you called. Like, tell me about conversion. What's the number one advice about that?
All right. So here I will talk about one of the mentors, and this one started me down the path of really growing as a leader, being able to lead other people, being able to improve as a salesperson too, because back when I was selling, I would say I was an okay salesperson. I was a manipulative kind of, like I could be a smooth talking, manipulative kind of salesperson, but I wasn't a really good, get on the same side of the table with you and have you feel as though I'm really on your team kind of salesperson, like I would be now. So what I would say is that the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, that was one of the books that started me on the path, which is, it just simply helped me understand that everybody cares about themselves primarily. And when you can finally realize that every single human being walking around cares about themselves first, if you can put them first authentically, then they will like you better. That's just that simple.
Agreed. 1,000 times over agreed. Yep. That's why that's timeless. It's really great. And I like the way that you articulated the difference in the two, because you can make money in both ways. But if you really want to be serious and make serious money and long-term money, you got to be that second salesperson.
Yeah. I would say this. When I started selling real estate, I was a me first salesperson. Me first. Even when I tried to pretend like I wasn't, it was still me first. And now I'm absolutely 100% in my coaching and training business client first. In fact, one of the values of our company is value over profit. So what I teach everybody in my organization and we follow is that we do not profit unless a client receives value and they perceive that they receive value. In fact, we just had a client the other day, did their first couple of training sessions with their trainer, and they said, I don't know if this is for us. We feel like we don't need it. Now, I didn't agree and the trainer didn't agree. However, because that's how they felt, they even said, you know what, we'll just forego the last couple sessions we paid for. And I said, listen, let's refund them all of their money. I want them to have their money back. Even though we didn't agree and we know that we can make an impact with them, that client did not feel like they were getting an impact or weren't getting the value. And I said, well, that's one of the values of this client was surprised. They were like, oh, I didn't expect to get the money back. And I said, listen, you didn't get the value. We are here to provide value. You didn't get it. Here's your money back. So that's that's me personally as a salesperson. I don't like to lose, believe me. And I don't like giving money back. But now I'm an absolute you first. And it always pays dividends.
Absolutely.
It always pays.
And there's no shame in there's not a fit here, right? Whatever that means, because people have different personalities. And on occasion, you just meet up with somebody that's like, okay, maybe we're not the best fit. That's okay. And when you do something like that, it leaves a much better taste in their mouth. And they speak so nicely of you to the next person, even if it wasn't the right fit for them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely time. This is something that I've realized doing coaching and training over the last, I started 7 or 8 years ago, formally 6 years ago with this company. But what I've realized is that you can't learn from somebody that you don't believe you can learn from. What I mean is that my company can't make an impact with anyone who doesn't believe that we can make an impact with them. So if you have somebody who doesn't believe that your material is going to work for them or that it's going to make an impact, that's already predetermined. You can't overcome that usually. So if they've already made that decision, then it's just best to let them go.
Yeah, very true. And, we look at that a lot of times. We say, if there isn't a fit there, there's one of two things that's happened. You haven't built your value in that customer's mind, or you're never going to build your value in that customer's mind. You have to figure out, which side of the aisle you're on for sure. Speaking of branding, so what would be a piece of advice that you would give people, about personal branding?
Wow, that's a big question. You guys
It is a big question. Answer it any way you want.
All right. Here's what I would say. If I think about here's the way that I approach it, right? I absolutely always try to approach it from under promising and over delivering, leading first with value with somebody. So let me put it this way. I always show up. I always give 120%. I will do free things for people. I'll be nice as shit to somebody who's not nice to me. If I want to have a business relationship with them, I will be. And so that's kind of my personal brand. And that has opened up lots and lots of doors for myself, for my company. It's gotten me opportunities that I, otherwise would have had to pay a lot of money to get. Or opportunities that are super valuable, right? And that only exclusive people can get access to. So when we talk about branding, I'm talking about it from an activity perspective, but also a consistency. So I always show up that way. My company always shows up that way. We always show up as professionals. We always try to do the best job we possibly can. I'll give you an anecdotal story. Remember I said that I bartended through college? I left out the fact that I moved to a new area. I was brand new in that area. I'd only lived there for 3 months, didn't know anybody from anybody. I walked into one of the busiest college bars and said, hey, I want to come bartend here. And they laughed at me and they said, you can get in line and it goes down around the corner, right? In order to do that. So I said, okay, any job, give me any job in this place. I need a job or otherwise I'm going to be sleeping under a bridge in 2 days. They said, all right, you can start waiting tables on a Wednesday morning. I got in there, busted my ass, did shit for free. When such and such bartender called out because they were hungover or didn't want to show up, I jumped in, started bar backing, carrying ice, doing everything I possibly could, worked my way up to the point where in college, I had the Friday and Saturday night, every night at the busy college bar, making money hand over fist. So that ties in with what I've said, right?
Absolutely.
Doing what it takes is how I sum that up.
Absolutely.
Doing what it
And
takes.
holding that moniker as your personal brand is awesome, because it is true. You know, you got to do the water hauls. You got to be willing to do the water hauls, and they pay huge dividends.
I was going to say, if I would have known when I was younger how much water I had to haul to get to where I am now, maybe I would have done so. I don't know. I might have made some other decisions, but shit. And if I would have seen the next 25 years working my ass off, I might have gone a different direction.
There are times I would have called that waterboarding in my life.
But it's so important. Like, it's, you know, I look at life like I've just been blessed. We've all been through some shit. But at the end of the day, like, without those steps, we wouldn't be here. And, you know, you've clearly learned from those steps. And now you're able to pass that on to other people, save them time, save them money in the long run, and help them out. You know, and that's admirable, and you've earned every step of it.
And it's authentic to you, I can tell.
Earned every step of it.
Thank you.
You know, here's a question. It might seem a little weird, but it's we ask it of all of our clients or all of our guests, because it's just a cool thing. If our listeners had the freedom to visit anywhere in the world, what place would you recommend for them to visit, and why?
I don't even know. Never thought about this one. If they had any amount of money to go anywhere, where would I recommend they visit? I really enjoyed Greece. I had to go to Greece for work a couple of times, and that was beautiful. I was in my hotel room looking at the Acropolis, like, lit up at night, and it was just beautiful. So I would recommend going there. I personally resonated with the laid back style where you show up for work around 10-ish, right? And then you work, you know, your day. You might take a nap in the middle of it, and then you go out and you hang out with your neighbors and friends until 11 a.m. every day, right? Drinking coffee. So that sort of laid back work style in a beautiful environment definitely worked for me.
Yeah, would agree with you 100%. And we actually are headed to Greece in August. I've been there before, and it'll be Tanya's first time, but I would agree. Greece is absolutely awesome place to visit.
It sure is.
I wouldn't take financial management advice from Greece, but everything else they've gotten nail on the head.
That, you know, that's exactly right.
Good point and good advice.
You only take advice on laying brick from brick masons, right? You know, you got that right. You got to take the right advice. If you want advice from the Grecians about theology and democracy and not doing anything but enjoying life, you probably should take those.
If you need to know how to enjoy life, they will advise you.
They will absolutely show you the best way to do that.
Well, Dale, the last question for you today is, please tell everybody how to reach you or how to contact you.
Sure. I'm Dale at Smart Sales Coaching. And if you Google Dale Archdekin, I'm kind of hard to miss, honestly. I'm the only one out there. But yeah, so you go to our website, Smart Sales Coaching. We have our training programs on there. We do scripting and dialogue training for agents and ISAs. We also do sales optimization coaching or consulting for team leaders and broker owners.
Very nice.
Love it.
We encourage all the listeners, please look Dale up, smartsalescoaching.com, and we'll also put that in the show notes.
It's not enough to get the leads like Glengarry Glen Ross. I just want the good leads. You've got to convert the leads. Okay. So Dale can actually help you do both. All right. Dale.
Yeah, we teach people to say smarter stuff. That's pretty much how it works.
That's good.
There you go. That's perfect. Dale, thank you so much for being on Be Bold Branding. We've enjoyed it.
Me.
Brought to you by BrandFace, the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.